So you just woke up craving a pizza, but just realized.
I don't have any pizza dough made.
Follow this video and I'll show you how to make some same day pizza dough.
What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. It's the Pizza Guy John, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a same day dough. So let's go ahead and take a look at the recipe. A same day dough is good again if you're craving some pizza and you don't have any dough but you want to make pizza the same day. Then again, this recipe is going to be easy for you to follow. All you need basically is around 6 to 7 hours of prep time and waiting for the dough to proof. So let's take a look at the formula. Here I have 4 pizzas that be making at 65% hydration. Again, it's the same day dough. Because I am doing all of this at room temp fermentation, again, it's about 6 hours of room temp depending on your room temperature. I'm using 2 different flours. I got 640 grams of 00 flour and 160 grams of all-purpose or bread flour. In this case, I did go with a bread flour. And so I'm just putting those and mixing those together. It's about 20% of the total amount. So it's about 800 grams of flour. And so 20% of the original 800, I'm doing 160 grams of the all-purpose or bread flour. So you want a stronger flour because again, it's doing a lot of room fermentation. You don't want something that's going to overproof right away. So again, you could just go with all-purpose flour or bread or do all 800 grams, or you could do what I like to do is split it up a little bit. So that's what I have here in this bowl here. And then because again, I want this to ferment at a quicker pace, depending again on your room temperature, then again, you're going to want to be using a little bit of warmer water. Right now here in where I'm at, we are in winter time. So inside, we try to keep it around anywhere between 60 something, about 67 to 70 degrees inside. Right now, since it is morning, it is a little bit cooler. So I'm going to be going with just a little bit warmer water. I don't expect the house to get any hotter than 70 degrees. But what you want is you want some warm water to help ferment the dough during that process. So straight on my refrigerator, the water is a little bit cooler. It's around 58 degrees or so. So that is nice and cool. But I do want to get it up to a little bit warmer temperature. So I went into the microwave right away with it and got it to about 78 or so degrees Fahrenheit. And so we're doing about 520 grams of water. Of course, if it was a lot cooler, then of course you want to go with cooler water in here. So just depending on your room temp, again, you're going to have to play around with that water to help speed that process up. And then again, we're going around with 20 grams of salt. So it is a lot of salt, but again, because we're doing such a short fermentation and you want to speed it up, then again, salt is what's going to help that process speed up a little bit quicker. Then we're going with 8 grams of yeast. Again, that is a lot, but because again, it is the same day dough and you want your dough pretty quick, you want to go with a lot more yeast. If you're doing a shorter fermentation or a longer fermentation, then of course you go with less yeast, but we're doing 8 grams of yeast. And so this is everything here that I have. All my ingredients are ready. Let's go ahead and start kneading. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be going with our flour. I'm just mixing it again. Like I said, it's 20% of all-purpose or bread flour. I went with the bread flour and our 00, just mixing that together. Then I'm gonna be going with our 8 grams of yeast, going straight in there. Start mixing that around, get that yeast and get that incorporated with the flour. And we're going to be going about 80% of the water. You do want to save about 20%, or you could even save about 10%. That way that is mixed in with the salt. So we're just going to go ahead and add our water. And I'll save about that much. Put that to the side. And again, if you just have a whisk, you use a whisk. You could use your hand at this point as well. But this is a dough whisk, and I'll go ahead and link that below as well. And we're just going to start mixing that around. And so again, I'll just kind of go over the fermentation time. So we're going to be kneading for about 10-15 minutes or so until the dough is pretty smooth. During that time, we'll also do some resting periods, about 15 minutes of resting periods to help build that gluten and help just get that dough nice and strong. Then we'll do 1 hour of room temp fermentation, so bulk fermentation. After that 1 hour, then we'll go ahead and be dividing our dough balls. You could do whatever grams you want, depending on the size of pizzas you want. And you'll be doing about 5 to 6 hours at room temp. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed together, and we'll start kneading here shortly. All right, so you saw that I added the salt, the rest of the water. I've continued to knead it a little bit, still a little bit sticky. So what I'm gonna do at this point, because I want it to get a little bit more smooth, I want the water to get in there. I'm gonna go ahead and let this rest at room temp, covered for 10 minutes, and I'll show you what that looks like when we come back. All right, so 10 minutes has passed. As you can see, it's kind of a little bit more relaxed, not as sticky, just a little sticky, but now at this point, when we knead it, everything is gonna come together. It's gonna look a lot more smoother. We'll knead it for maybe another minute or two, then we'll do another 15-minute rest, and then at that point, we should then be looking pretty good, but let's go ahead and get to it. And so again, anytime that the dough is feeling sticky and you want it to kind of relax a little bit and you don't want your hands to be sticky anymore and you want it easy to be workable, then again, just cover it, let it rest, and let it do its thing, and then go back to it. So let's go ahead and continue. And as you can see, just a little bit of hand kneading, letting it rest for 10 minutes. The dough is looking a lot smoother. So now at this point, what I'm gonna do is, again, I'm gonna cover it, let it sit at room temp for 15 minutes, and then that'll be the first 15-minute rest period, so we'll be back shortly. All right, so the timer just went off. Let's take a look at this dough, looking a lot smoother. Take a look at the window pane. Dough is looking pretty good, so we're just gonna do a quick little knead. And we're just building that gluten. All right, and so normally at this point you could do another couple 15-minute resting periods, but I think the dough's looking pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and ball it into one big ball, and we're just pulling it all together like that. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this covered and we're gonna sit this at room temp for 1 hour, and then we're gonna divide our dough balls. So we'll be back in an hour. All right, so 1 hour has passed. You can see the dough ball has pretty much gotten really big, full of air. Let's go ahead and dump this out to our work surface. A little semolina. All right, so we'll get it dumped to our work surface. And so at this point, you could do whatever gram dough balls you want. I do want to make a big dough ball because I'm going to be cooking in the Gozney Arc XL. We'll be doing about one dough ball at around 305 grams. Almost perfect. 304, 300, and we'll do another 260, 54, 260, and we should have enough for a couple more. Do another 100. $303. Should be 100 and something. All right, so this one's a 305 grams. We'll go ahead and ball this up. You can see there's a ton of air in there. 260. Alright, so we have our dough balls here. We're going to go and get this covered, and we'll let it sit at room temp anywhere between 5 to 6 hours once they've doubled in size. And then we're ready to make pizza, so make sure you stick around and see the pizza that I'll be making with this dough. Alright, welcome back. We're about 6 hours in. As you can see, this dough is ready. We got a lot of fermentation bubbles. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of these 260 gram dough balls. If you want to see one of these big dough balls being used, make sure you're following me at my Instagram at the Pizza Guy John, because I will be posting a video there using one of these big dough balls. It's going to be a pretty big pizza. But for now, we're going to stick with the small one. I got the Gozney Arc XL preheated. Let's go ahead and get this 260 gram dough ball. Again, 6 hours is perfect. Anything longer, then of course you're going to have a lot of fermentation. Your dough may be too weak at that point. But at this point, it's been sitting at room temp and we're ready to use it. So we'll get this covered back up. I'm going to get this flopped around in our semolina. I'm going to get some of this air bubble popped here. Get it nice and round. And we're just going to go straight to stretching it. And you can hear all that air in there sounding good. The dough feels really, really nice. It smells good too. Like, it definitely has a really good smell to it. So I'm excited for that. Again, we're just stretching it. Making sure we're stretching all the way to the edges. And again, if you haven't checked out my latest videos, make sure you guys are doing so as well. Turn on that bell notification. Definitely want to be posting a lot more this coming year. So make sure you're not missing out on any of those videos. But this dough is looking pretty good. And again, this is about 260 grams. So we're just going to get a good little stretch here. And we're just going with the straight cheese pizza. Nothing too crazy. Again, all my crazy pizzas I'm making on my Instagram. So again, make sure you're checking out that. We're also checking out the shorts that I post, because I do post, try to at least, weekly shorts. Shorter videos. So if you guys like that and you guys have any suggestions on any type of short video styles, let me know. Let's go ahead and get our sauce here. All right, and we're going to be doing some olive oil. I kind of just like a little bit of olive oil there. Then we're going with a handful of cheese. And again, if you guys have any other suggestions of any other type of videos I should make, comment down something you guys are looking for. I'm always willing to try something different. All right, so I think that is good. We'll go ahead now. We'll get some semolina here. And we're just stretching this all the way out to our peel. This is a 12-inch peel. And I'm going straight into that oven. Like I said, it's been preheating now for about an hour. All right, straight into the oven. I'm just gonna let that cook. You can see the oven right now, internal temperature, we're looking about 450 or 442 degrees. If we switch it to Celsius, we're looking about 449. So it's pretty hot. We'll just leave that there. And the stone heats up nicely. You can see the dough crust rising all the way around, so that's a good sign. And it's been a little windy today, so definitely taking a little bit longer for the oven to preheat, but as of right now, it's looking pretty good. So let me get my peel here. And so I'm just watching the left-hand side for that crust to cook. which is looking pretty good. So at this point, what I'll do is I'll get my turning peel in here, and I'm gonna go right underneath it, and I'm just gonna get a nice turn. And again, this oven is gonna cook everything on the left hand side, so again, you want to make sure that you are constantly turning it. Take a look at that bottom is nice and cooked, if you could see that. But we're going back underneath, and you can see where it's cooking nicely. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. Again, I'm getting nice cooked there. And we're pretty close to finishing up. I do see a couple of spots where I do want to get a little bit more cook on there. Smells pretty good. Let's go ahead now. The bottom is cooked nice. So I'm just getting some of that crust cooked there as well. And let's take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out, and let's take a look and see what we're looking at. And so we could see that we still need a little bit here, so I'm gonna get that turned in there, and I'm just gonna get that close to the flame. Now let's take a look and see. Still just a little bit more right here. And I'm just kind of cooking that rest of it here. And that's the best thing about this oven. It's a pretty good size oven, so you're able to kind of get your peel in there and get some nice cook. Get some big pizzas. And I think we're looking pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this inside now. Look at the pizza, nice and cooked. Let's take a look at this bottom. Bottom is nice and cooked all the way through, so let's go ahead and let's get a cut into this. Sounds nice and crispy, so we'll get this piece right here. Sounds nice, it smells good. Again, this was the same day dough. It was bread flour and 00 flour, so 2 different flours mixed. And then it was a 6-hour room temp fermentation. So let's go ahead and get this piece right here. Crust looking nice, holds up pretty good. Yeah, that's really good. You can't go wrong with that. You know, it definitely has some flavor. That crust has some flavor. You know, again, it's long fermentation, room temp fermentation. Definitely brings out some flavor. Again, mixing different flours. Experiment it with it. Try different flours, what you choose. Comment down below if you guys are going to try this recipe, or if you have tried this recipe before, or you're just, you know, wanting to up your pizza game. Check out my other videos on my channel. Check out my Instagram at the Pizza Guy John, and we'll talk there.